So I just finished watching Clock, which is currently on Hulu and Disney Plus, which is where I found my copy, which is on Disney Plus. I had been recommended to watch this in a Facebook group that I'm in, and the people in this Facebook group are like, no, we don't want kids, but we're pretty solid on this idea of not wanting kids. So they all watched Clock, and they all said the same thing, it's horrific. They all said the same thing, that it's a mixed review type of movie. So Clock follows a young woman, no older than 37, who has no desire to have children. But with the pressure of her dad, with the pressure of her friends, she goes, well, maybe I do want kids. So through a trial fertility clinic, her desire to have children is teetering on like its edge. It's a thriller horror. I would call it more of a thriller because it plays with the mindset of a woman's mind, particularly on a mindset of a woman who's very adamant she doesn't want children, particularly a mindset of like, well, we're very pro-life and you are wrong, and something is incredibly messed up inside of your body where we can fix you and make you want to have kids. It is an illusion-filled storyline. By saying that, the whole storyline centers around this woman trialing a fertility clinic. I literally have no desire to have children. I've been told that I need to have kids since I was the age of 13, which is, let that settle in. I'm only 28 and I've been pressured since I was 13. So when I watched this, within the first 5 minutes, this movie had me hooked. Within the first 10 minutes, I was like, oh, it's pro-life. And by the end of the movie, I was like, yes, it's a very pro-life movie. I had to Google the scriptwriter and director. Now, Alexis Jacknow doesn't have kids. She said that she was inspired to write this during the Roe vs. Wade turnover. I know very little of that turnover. I do know that it affects the womb and uterus of people, which is a not fun thing. But I'm not American, so I don't know how this fully affects me. So the fact that this was written during that overturn, it also shows you, the pressures women have of being like, well, your clock's ticking. 2, the pressures that women have because their friends are all getting pregnant. 3, the pressures from their loved ones, such as their fathers, their husbands. And 4, the pressures from their doctors. The whole story, Ella did not want kids. Maybe not the whole story, but the first 10 minutes, she's very adamant she doesn't want kids. By the end of the story, her head is that messed up that she's like, well, it is a very intense watch, but it is very hooking, and regardless what you think of pro-life or not, it's worth a watch. Okay, so mind the fruit and the teeth, I'm literally in the midst of eating lunch and dinner. But the Clock ending, spoiler alerts, if you haven't seen the Clock, you should watch it. It's a mind trip. It's really good, but it's a mind trip. You want me to explain the ending? It did take me a while, but there is a moment in the movie where the father talks about his nightmare and how he saw this thing coming out of the water, and like, you know, how he saw his family and his mom or something. What?
Did you watch the Priest movie?
No, I watched Clock. Anyway, sorry, my brother's interrupting me. Anyway, so like I was saying, there is a scene where the father talks about his dreams, how he saw family and how he saw this thing coming out of the water and he couldn't explain it. So basically that end scene is her seeing her father's symbolism, or at least that's what I'm thinking. So in a sense, it's her way of going, hey, this is acknowledging my dad and what I did, and also acknowledging her father's dream. Could you be any louder? And also, like, I don't know, this is where I'm confused, because you and I can be confused together. I don't know if she's actually dead or if she's alive and like that was only a small fall, but either way, she hit the rocks, and we can both agree she hit the rocks. So I feel like it's a symbolic way of rebirth and a symbolic way of saying, well, this is the life and this is nature and this is what nature intended, if that makes sense. It probably doesn't. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.